final touch, a Valentine's Day love story.
Some dogs, like some people, are just made for each other. That's the case for Jack and Diane, a couple of senior dogs at the Humane Society in Augusta, Maine. They're also devoted to each other. The shelter held a wedding ceremony for them. Obviously, the dogs weren't really married, but shelter staff hope the images will help promote the canine couple's availability to potential owners. The two were found together wandering around in the neighborhood. There's 10 and 8 years old. They're looking for a nice, quiet home for the canine couple so they can relax and take long naps together. Happy Valentine's Day, you two lovebirds. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, on the one-year anniversary of the deadliest high school shooting in U.S. history, some Wisconsinites are calling for stricter gun legislation.
Congress is voting today on a border security deal to keep the government open. Why the next fight could be over an emergency by the president.
And how one criminal's online taunt to Janesville police could actually lead to him being found.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3. A year ago on February 14th, a gunman opened fire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, killing 14 students and 3 staff members.
For the one-year anniversary, students at the school and residents of Parkland are holding moments of silence and services. Broward County Superintendent Robert Runcie said today is a day of service and love to honor the victims and those who were injured in the horrific tragedy.
And although we mourn from the lives that we lost through a horrific act of hate and anger, I believe that we must also celebrate the possibilities of what can be through love and support. Thank you.
And local activists are using the Parkland anniversary to push for stricter gun laws here in Wisconsin.
More than a dozen states have passed what's known as a red flag law, and advocates are pushing for it here in Wisconsin. Rose Schmidt is live at the state capitol to explain their strategy. Rose?
That's right. Members of a grassroots group fanned out across every wing of this building, urging lawmakers to make gun violence prevention a high priority this legislative session. They're pushing for universal background checks and a red flag law.
Sign on this door.
With clipboards in hand, volunteers are delivering petitions with more than 2,000 signatures to state lawmakers.
Something extraordinary happened to me, and I have an opportunity maybe to do some good for other people.
You may remember Jim Nozel's daughter, Caroline, who was shot by her former coworker in 2016 at the Metro Market on a Cottage Grove Road. She would have turned 28 this year.
If we don't change something, then what we're saying is that it's all right for 24-year-old women to be killed.
One change Jim's advocating for is a red flag law, which would allow a court to prohibit someone from having a firearm if the court believes the person is likely to hurt someone.
A law where someone who's been accused of a crime like this and would not be allowed to buy a firearm, I think would have saved my daughter's life.
Democratic Representative Melissa Sargent is drafting a bill, which Republicans are reacting to cautiously.
I'd rather see what comes out on paper rather than just somebody talking about it.
Representative John Spiros chairs the Public Safety Committee. He says he wants to carefully consider laws already on the books.
There's already laws out there to where a judge could take care of what they're talking about. So does this change the law or not? I'm not sure of it.
But with the Parkland shooting on volunteers' minds,
almost every day we're reminded that another family is going through the living hell that we go through.
They're hoping a law change could make a difference for future families.
My daughter is forever a 24-year-old, and I'll never get to see the things that she could have done, and she would have done great things.
Representative Sargent's office could not give me specifics on the bill that she's drafting, but said she introduced a similar bill back in 2017. Now it was referred to committee and then died there. So it is unclear what will happen this session.
Rose Schmidt live at the Capitol. Rose, thank you.
Congress is expected to pass a spending bill without all of the border wall funding the president wanted. The Senate has passed that bill that avoids the government shutdown while providing some money for border security. The House expected to vote later today. This after the president told Senate leaders that he will sign the bill.
He will also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time. And I've indicated to him that I'm going to support the national emergency declaration.
For the president to declare an emergency now would be an unprecedented subversion of Congress's constitutional prerogative.
A national emergency declaration is expected to face challenges both in Congress as well as the courts.
Let's get a first check on the weather now. Gary Canalti is on the weather patio. Gary?
Actually, pretty quiet Valentine's Day here in southern Wisconsin. Our temperatures generally have been pretty we do have a big change to our north and to our west. On visible cloud track, you can see the clouds moving on through, but they are clearing across western Minnesota, and there's a little band of snow flurries that will be moving on through along with the cold front. But to the west, those temperatures really drop off. High temperatures today here in Madison, we hit 41. Milwaukee's at 43. But notice La Crosse, they only topped out at 33. They're already down to 29 degrees, and those temperatures will continue to fall thanks to winds that are shifting around to the northwest. In fact, our day planner calls for temperatures to drop to the middle single digits by tomorrow morning with wind chills perhaps as cold as 15 below zero. Tomorrow will be a sunny but much colder day with a high temperature of 15. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
That's where you're going to toss tequilas.
All right, Gary, thank you. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation abruptly shut down parts of the interstate last night.
Traffic is still down to one lane near southbound mile marker 145. Our Keely Arthur is live from the interstate and joins us with the very latest. Keely?
That's right. Well, where we are, traffic is moving along just fine on the interstate, but a little south of us, that is not necessarily the case. That's because the lane is down to just one lane, but for very good reason. Check out this video. Now, you can see big potholes on the right lane of southbound I-3990, immediately south of the Beltline interchange. This is all because of the winter weather we've experienced lately. DOT officials say extreme temperature fluctuations, severe cold, heavy rain and snow created an unexpected deterioration of the pavement. The lane is shut down for about 2 miles, but no problem for this Illinois driver we caught up with.
Pretty dry, the roads are dry. A one-lane hang-up, and besides, I'm used to Chicago traffic, so cutting down to 55 in a one lane is nothing compared to the nonsense we have in Chicago.
Now, the eastbound Beltline ramp to southbound I-3990 is also closed for the time being. There is a detour, however, via State Highway 73. Now, crews are working hard tonight to make the repairs. If all goes to plan, the lane should be back open to 2 lanes by this weekend.
Let's hope for that. Keely Arthur reporting live. Keely, thank you.
Police are looking for a man who asked a boy walking home from school if he wanted to go to his house. Police said that 9-year-old boy was walking home in the 6600 block of Franklin Avenue in Middleton when a man wearing a black hooded sweatshirt approached him. The man asked the boy if he wanted to come to his house. He's described as 5 feet 10 inches tall with black hair, a thin build. Police are asking anyone with information about that incident or who may have home surveillance video in that area to call 608-824-7300.
All group health cooperative clinics in Madison were briefly locked down today. A GHC employee told News 3 Now there was a threat and police were called to make sure conditions were safe. Police said a person made a general threat over the phone at about 11:30 this morning. The lockdown was lifted this afternoon at 12:45.
The man accused of fatally shooting a Milwaukee police officer who was serving a search warrant for drugs and weapons has pleaded not guilty. Jordan Fricky entered the pleas to 3 charges, including first-degree intentional homicide. The court appearance comes a day after thousands of people honored slain officer Matthew Rittner during a funeral in nearby Oak Creek. The 26-year-old Fricky is accused of shooting Rittner as the officer's police unit executed a warrant for suspected illegal guns and drugs in a Milwaukee duplex last week. Fricky has been held on $1 million bond. Trial has been set for July 8th.
A suspected Rock County criminal is trying to make a joke at the expense of police.
But officers say that joke could end up leading them directly to him. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter in our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with why this week's Wanted Wednesday has people talking at him.
Well, Eric and Susan, Wanted Wednesday is a tactic the Janesville police have been using for the last month or so, where once a week they post a photo and details of someone who's got a warrant out for their arrest in hopes that someone will see it and turn the person in. But never did they expect the criminal to be commenting on the post that is about them. Now, this guy, his name is Cody Finfrock, and he's wanted for all sorts of things, including domestic violence, battery, criminal damage to property, and bail jumping. Yesterday, he commented, quote, "Catch me if you can," under his own Wanted Wednesday post. But Janesville police say that joke is actually leading them right to him.
That just proves to us that our social media the outreach is working. When you get an offender to actually comment on themselves, he can comment all he wants. We've got several other tips of where he might be.
Officer Sullivan says that even if Finfrock is in another state, he can be arrested there and brought to Rock County, where he'd appear before a judge. And Officer Sullivan also says the entire department wants to thank Finfrock for commenting on the post because it's gotten far more attention to the post had he not done that. But anyone with any information is encouraged to call the Janesville Area Crime Stoppers.
Story we should keep an eye on. We'll see where it goes. Adam Duxter in Rock County. Adam, thank you. Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate Brian Hagedorn helped create and still serves on the board of a private school that prohibits anyone working there from being in a gay relationship and could expel students who are gay. Groups that advocate for gay rights in Wisconsin said Hagedorn's involvement with the Augustine Academy in Waukesha disqualifies him from being able to serve as a fair, impartial judge on the state Supreme Court. Liberal group One Wisconsin Now presented details of Hagedorn's involvement with the school. They say the school's code of conduct prohibits, quote, immoral sexual activity defined as anything apart from the context of marriage between one man and one woman.
A foundation of our judicial system is that people will be treated equally under the law. But with viewpoints such as these, and more problematically, actions upon those viewpoints while he is a judge, while he is campaigning to be a state Supreme Court justice, it is simply disqualifying.
Hagedorn's campaign says questions about his work for a private school that prohibits gay teachers or students is part of a smear to attack his faith. His campaign says he treats everyone fairly under the law, and he is running, quote, to protect religious freedoms for all Wisconsinites regardless of faith. Hagedorn faces fellow state appeals court judge Lisa Neubauer in the April 2nd election. Wisconsin military spouses are often overlooked as a vital resource for employers in our state. They'll soon get a boost from a program set to launch in June. The Departments of Veterans Affairs, Workforce Development, WISC, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce are coming together to bring the Military Spouse Economic Empowerment Zone program to Wisconsin. It creates a network where military spouses who often move around and have employment gaps on their resumes can be connected to meaningful employment opportunities.
Some of the skills that make our military personnel so employable are also skills that their spouses have, whether that's adaptability, whether it's resilience, grit. They're missing out big time if they're not taking those gaps into consideration in the full context of their career.
The unemployment rate for military spouses, who are 92% female, is roughly 16%. That's about 4 times the national average. The first such zone launched in San Antonio last February.
Madison, the school district is adding 2 days and extra minutes to the school year to make up for all those snow days. For elementary schools, they'll have an early release March 12th, and they'll now attend school on June 12th, which will be the last day of school. Starting February 25th, 11 minutes will be added to the end of the school day. For middle and high schoolers, they will now attend school for the full day on Monday, March 18th. June 12th will also be their last day of classes. And beginning February 25th, middle and high schools will start 2 minutes earlier and dismiss 5 minutes later. If additional school days are canceled because of weather, the school district may add more.
Herb Cole Philanthropies is saying we love teachers this Valentine's Day. The group funded all Wisconsin project requests that were on the education crowdfunding site DonorsChoose.org. In total, that's 924 projects that are being flash funded for a total of $507,000 across the state. Administrators with the Beloit School District were among the teachers thanking the foundation when they heard about its generosity. According to a tweet, the district will receive $13,000 in funding.
Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes made a visit to a local elementary school today, reading to 4th graders at West Middleton Elementary. Barnes read The Story of Ruby Bridges by Robert Coles, which is a true story of a 6-year-old girl who helped shape history when she became the first African American sent to 1st grade in an all-white school. There's more to come tonight on News 3 Now at 5. When we come back, Amazon pulls out of a deal to build a new headquarters in New York City. We'll have reaction from politicians.
And mixed numbers on Wall Street on this Valentine's Day. The Dow off 104 points. The Nasdaq added 6.5. The S&P lost more than 7. We'll be right back. Amazon announces a stunning change of plans. The tech giant says it loves New York, but won't be moving there after all.
The company decided it is not going where it's not wanted, reversing plans for building a New York City headquarters after opposition from the community. Amazon's new facility would have brought 25,000 jobs to the city, but local politicians were infuriated the company was offered $3 billion in tax breaks.
We were looking at a deal that was not primarily putting the community first, and I think that we can absolutely come together to create an economic plan that actually invests in New Yorkers.
Amazon says it's disappointed at the change of plans, but it already has more than 5,000 employees in New York and promises to add more. New York competed against more than 200 cities to land the project.
People in California coping with the worst weather they have seen so far this year. A storm system from Hawaii is dumping several inches of rain on already waterlogged areas, causing mudslides. The entire state is being hit with a weather system they're calling the Pineapple Express, a wave of moisture from Hawaii hovering over the state. Now, in the backcountry of the Sierra Nevadas, there's an avalanche warning. Some areas could see up to 7 feet of snow. Forecasters say the Pineapple Express could soak the state through Friday.
Let's get more on that now with Gary Canalti in the Weather Center. Gary?
But fortunately, the worst of that weather is going to stay to the south. Our upper level winds have become a little more northwesterly, and that's keeping the main storm track a little farther south, which is good news because we've been in such an active weather period for about the last 2 weeks. But as you take a look at visible cloud track, you can see the clouds, even the upper level clouds coming in basically from west to east or northwest to southeast. This is with a cold front, which is passing through the area right now. Eventually, skies will clear out and temperatures will drop. There's a band of light snow showers or flurries. This is going to move through pretty quickly tonight. It's actually behind the cold front, and you can see the difference where the snow is falling here. But look at the difference in temperatures right now. 40 in Madison, 42 Milwaukee, La Crosse is 29, Minneapolis 13, Fargo, North Dakota at 2 degrees. You want to guess where the cold front is? Right about over here. And more importantly, you can see the wind shift from the southerly direction that we saw for much of the day today, keeping our temperatures mild to the northwest. And look at the difference in speeds. Very light winds here in Madison right now, but those winds, these are sustained winds in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range out to the west. That will drop wind chills here by morning down to about 15 below zero. Actual wind chills are already in the single digits and teens, almost at 20 below zero over western portions of Minnesota. Time lapse from the Platteville Queen Bee Radio Skycam. You can see the clouds gradually thickening through the day, but a little bit of sunshine toward the end of the time lapse. There's the live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam with mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures are turning colder already in southwestern Wisconsin. Live view from the WISC Skycam also showing mostly cloudy skies, but no snow here right now. In fact, temperatures are still pretty mild. And the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison also showing mostly cloudy skies. As we check out the almanac for today, we made it up to 41 degrees after starting out at 21, so well above the averages of 31 and 15, and right now we're at 40 degrees. The air calm, skies are mostly cloudy, but again, those winds will pick up from the northwest, and that'll drop temperatures later on. And you can see those upper level winds from the northwest, so that will keep that Pineapple Express moisture down in the southern part of the United States and keep these weather systems relatively weak with not a lot of moisture associated with them. That'll keep us away from any big snows or any ice storms, at least in the immediate future, but it also will bring in the colder air. Here's that cold front sweeping on through. Notice the winds now out of the northwest, and those temperatures below zero already over parts of Montana and North Dakota. Compared to 24 hours ago, our temperatures are up. Look at the drop in temperatures out to the west, 30 to 35 degrees, and we'll probably see about a 25-degree drop in temperatures by this time tomorrow. Our forecast for tonight calls for mostly cloudy skies. Any flurries will end this evening. Then it'll turn partly cloudy overnight with low temperature dropping to 5 degrees above zero. By tomorrow, look for a high temperature of only 15 with mostly sunny skies, but at least the winds will be dying down during the day. As we look at future track, again, those winds have shifted around to the northwest. That will drop temperatures off to the single digits by tomorrow morning. High temperatures tomorrow only getting up into the teens. Tomorrow night will actually be a little colder, but with lighter winds, we shouldn't see much of a wind chill. And then on Saturday, look for high temperatures back into the 20s. As we take a look at the 10-day forecast, you'll see those temperatures still slightly below normal for early next week. A system on Sunday bringing us an inch or two of snow accumulation, maybe a similar system on Wednesday, and one toward late Friday and Saturday, again bringing the possibility for some light snow. As we take a look at first alert traffic, right now we have that big problem on the interstate. That's the live view from the camera at I-3990 just south of the Beltline. Notice the ramp coming in from the eastbound Beltline to the southbound I-3990 closed right now, and big delays there. Also seeing some accidents on the Beltline around looks like the Fish Hatchery Road exit. So slow traffic in both directions on the Beltline. As far as travel times are concerned right now, almost a half hour in either direction between University Avenue and I-3990. Heading out of Madison down to Janesville, 27 minutes once you get past the construction on the interstate past the Beltline. 22 minutes to Sauk City on US 12 and 20 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151. That is your first alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Ahead on News 3 now at 5, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention releasing some new numbers about the flu vaccine. Tell you how effective it has been after this. Welcome back. New CDC estimates suggest this season's flu vaccine is effective, preventing about half the number of flu-related doctor visits.
Tom Hansen has the latest on this season's flu impact so far.
This season's flu vaccine seems to be working. That's according to CDC estimates that find the vaccine has reduced the risk of going to the doctor for flu-related illness by 47% overall this season. The effectiveness is even higher among children between 6 months and 17 years, reducing doctors' visits 61%.
Numbers can change between now and the end of the season. The important thing is that the vaccine is providing some protection against the viruses that are circulating.
The CDC says H1N1 is the predominant strain of the virus so far this season nationwide, although H3N2 is the predominant strain in the Southeast. And even though flu activity is lower than it was at this point last year, it is still responsible for somewhere between 155 and 186,000 hospitalizations and around 10,000 to 16,000 deaths.
That puts it on track to be a season with a substantial number of deaths. It's likely to rise. We also see 28 pediatric deaths so far this season. That's also unfortunately likely to rise.
Health officials add after a slow start, flu activity has been picking up in the past few weeks and is now at the highest it's been all season. They stress if you haven't received a flu shot yet, there is still time to do so. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
Last season, when the predominant strain was H3N2, the CDC estimated 80,000 Americans died of the flu and its complications. It was the deadliest toll in 40 years.
Stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
Nice day today. The cold is coming back, though.
Yeah, we got some flurries we might have to get through this evening. You can see those coming in from the north and west. And then after that, look at the drop in temperatures. 42 in Milwaukee, 40 in Madison, 29 right now in La Crosse. The wind chills there already down into the teens. They'll be below 0 here by morning. Look for a high tomorrow of only 15. Back in the 20s for much of the first half of next week. Some light snow chances Sunday and Wednesday. And then maybe from late Friday into Saturday. All of those look like minor systems, maybe an inch or two of accumulation at most. And then back to around freezing toward the end of next week.
All right. Gary, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us at 5. We're back in 30 minutes with another update on News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned for the CBS Evening News.